Hello, Americans. I'm Kent McNall, and it's Constitution time. Today is Thursday, October 22nd, 2020. We're 12 days out from our 2020 national election. Tonight is also the night of the final debate between the two presidential candidates. As we all know, the first two debates have been pretty interesting. The first one was completely unprecedented in American presidential debate history in its contentiousness, in the absolute lack of civility that was shown, and in how little we actually were able to get out of it besides those two things. The second debate, of course, was canceled due to the illness of the incumbent. So we're left now tonight with the third debate. Presidential debates are not just an opportunity to see how good a debater a candidate is. It's a good opportunity to get an important glimpse into character, because it's extremely stressful to do a debate on any stage, much less the largest stage there is. So they're already in a position where they're very nervous, very anxious, needing to do well, and it's just a lot of pressure for them to deal with. And they are, after all, just men, even though we put them on a different pedestal as the leader of our country. So it's an opportunity for us to watch carefully how they perform on the stage of character. You know, it's been a strange thing over the last 4 years. We seem to have somehow forgotten how critically important it is for us to have a person of not just good character, but great character at the head of our nation. I mean, who are the people in your life outside of your family that you rely on for good character? You know, your pastor, your priest, the teachers of your children, the president of the United States. That's one that I think that we all rely on and have striven in the past to ensure that we get. And we're not always right, although the character flaws of some of the folks in the past don't seem that big in comparison to some of the things we've seen. The presidential debate, since it's been on television, does give us an opportunity to see into a person's character. The very first televised debate between Richard Nixon and John Kennedy showed a very relaxed, very poised, very comfortable John Kennedy and an extremely nervous, sweating Richard Nixon. I'm not sure that Richard Nixon ever got over that. And he refused to do presidential debates after that first one that he lost with Kennedy. At some point down the road, I think he might have done a second one with Kennedy. I don't recall in the many debates that I've watched, I typically have tried to tune in over the years, any of the, I'm going to say, shenanigans that we've seen recently. Perhaps in the last couple of, there's definitely been some very strident arguments and some strong positions taken. There's been some weirdness. I remember the Ross Perot debate, and he had that poor admiral that was deer in the headlights when he got on the camera. So we've had some strange things happen, but this is on a different level. But I think it's important, Americans, that we don't write ourselves a blank check for ignoring character as part of what's needed in our executive, in our evaluation of either of the candidates. I think that one thing, of course, that's unusual or different about our generations versus, if Millard Fillmore was a horrible, horrible, horrible person, we don't really have any way to know that right now except for what's written. And pardon me, President Fillmore, I'm not picking on you. As far as I know, you're a wonderful person. But our children and their children and their children are going to have a complete record beyond all description of everything that's happened, because the nature of our media, because all the video and all the electronic records that are out there. And we will answer to that. You mean you knew that? You mean you knew that about this candidate or that candidate and you still elected them? We can't write ourselves that kind of blank check anymore. We can't say it's okay because I might get this thing I want out of it. So I do hope that all of us are really looking at that very, very important thing, character. So to kind of talk about, what are you looking for? I reached back in history a bit to get some help with what are the kind of things that you look for in character, not just in a leader. What are the attributes of a leader? Or what are the attributes of character? And there are many places you can go for such a list, but let's see if I can switch over here. I'm going to go back to one of my favorite movies. I'm a movie buff. I'm also a fan of certain characters in history. One of them is Marcus Aurelius. He was an emperor of Rome. And he was a very learned man, and he did a lot of writing and a lot of thinking. He was a philosopher king, if you will. But he's also the emperor of Rome, and ruthless and conquering and all those things. And of course, Rome at that time was a society that still had slavery and had a class system, the patron class and all that. But this is one of my favorite movies. I am a movie buff. And one of my favorite scenes in this movie is when Marcus Aurelius' son, Commodus, is complaining to him that his list of 14 virtues did not include any virtues that he, Commodus, happened to possess. And so he said, but I have some other virtues, father, and extolled on, 3 or 4 virtues just before he killed his father. So I'm not sure that was super convincing, but I thought I would just kind of go over the list of 14 virtues as Marcus Aurelius saw them. I think a modern list might be different, but I still think, that our forebears in the world and in government and all the things that Marcus Aurelius was smart in, I still think they have good things to say. And perhaps this is a list you can help to overlay as you watch the debate tonight and relay it on what is to come. So without further ado, let's just go through this real quick, because I know the debate's coming up and I want to watch it just as much as you do. And that should leave you plenty of time to flip over to the channel and watch it. All right, so these are the 14 virtues. And I'm not saying this is a list of 14 virtues of leaders. I think that was actually the context in the movie. But these are the 14 virtues of the ancient world, if you will. So number 1 is spiritual authority. And by the way, you very much I very much look at some of these a little bit askew because, when Marcus was talking about your place in society and that kind of thing, you got to remember they had this caste patron, so they wouldn't want to necessarily take all that at face value. Okay, so spiritual authority is that sense of one's social status built through experience. Second one is humor. Your ease of manner, your openness, your courtesy, and friendliness. And I've never mentioned this before on the show, but many of you are people that know me and you know I don't have good eyes. So I apologize for typos and for having to take a second to read these things. I just don't see it very well. And I have memorized these amazingly. Number 3, mercy. I think that's supposed to say mildness and gentleness under mercy. Dignity. A sense of self-worth and personal pride. A sense of self-worth and personal pride, your dignity. Tenacity, strength of mind, and the ability to stick to one's purpose. I think that tenacity is something that we really, really need right now because we've got to define a purpose, especially to get over COVID and stick to it. And that's a big one, tenacity. By the way, I look at all the, like, my wife should be the emperor. I'm just saying. Frugalness, especially that one. Economy and simplicity is what that's supposed to say, of style, without being miserly. That's frugalness. Without being miserly, I want to stress that one. Gravity, a sense of the importance of the matter at hand. Responsibility and earnestness. And I'd like to see some gravity tonight on the presidential debate. I really hope we come back to that. Okay, moving on to the next page here. Oh, sorry, I got lost. Hang on a second. All right, there we go. Okay, respectability. The image that one presents as a respectable member of society. And we all know that respectability, I think, is a two-way street. You are respectable. You treat others with respect. Humanity, what an important thing for a president to have. Refinement, civilization, learning, and being cultured. Industriousness, hard work. Hard work. It's been said many times by a lot of folks that have been in the office that the presidency is just flat out hard work all day, every day. No time for anything but the job because it covers so much territory. So we've got to have somebody in there that is a hard worker 24/7. Dutifulness. I think this is often related to religious endeavors, but beyond religious piety, a respect for the natural order. This is one of those I'm a little suspicious of. Socially, politically, and religiously, and includes the desire for patriotism and devotion to others. So dutifulness. Okay, and then we have prudence. Prudence is foresight, wisdom, and personal discretion. And of course, we've had our share of executives that didn't always have the discretion. But foresight and wisdom are critically important for our leader. Wholesomeness, health, and cleanliness. And finally, truthfulness, honesty in dealing with others. Overlay that. Maybe Marcus Aurelius can reach out from the past and help us out as we do this kind of evaluation, because obviously these things are all important. Now, leaders must also have other attributes as leaders: decisiveness, They've got to be strong. Um, but they've also got to build coalitions, and they've got to work with others. You cannot dictate to your own people, and you certainly cannot dictate to the rest of the world. So all these things are important. Okay. I think that I would again say we, the people, must take responsibility for the character of the person that we put in the highest office in our land, because we then are responsible for what they do with that power and authority. We should not kid ourselves about that. We are responsible. And in no important position in our lives, in our own personal lives, in our lives as citizens of this country, should we ever knowingly put someone of bad character in such an important place. So, with that, I want to thank you, as always, for joining us on Constitution Time. And we'll see you tomorrow and every day up until the election. And we'll see what happens after that. I'm guessing we're going to keep going then too. Thank you very much, Americans, for joining me.